to some of the kind of macro environment, especially what some of your clients are asking you about, Mark. Let's talk. You've spoken about this year being the year of efficiency, moving into the year of competition. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think what happened is the tech companies at the beginning of this year said, let's put the brakes on everything. Let's trim down our employee workforces. Let's stop our programs. Let's reconsider what we're doing. Then somewhere along the way, AI came along, and wow, this is an entirely new, not new technology, but a leapfrog in that technology that suddenly enabled the companies to now begin applying AI technologies, to generally computer communications, to analysis of words, to getting answers to questions, to really streamlining industrial processes. And it opened up a panacea of potential new technological innovations. And you know what? Now the companies have to do the opposite, which is to get going here. And no one owns AI. Microsoft doesn't own it. Google doesn't own it. Startups don't own it. We're going to see a real competition here. Typically, what we've seen before is someone owns Windows and Office. Somebody owns search like Google. Nobody owns AI. Nobody owns the cloud either.
You don't think ChatGPT gives a big advantage to Microsoft as the kind of main investor there? Or is that, I'm talking about large language models and generative AI, but you think it's still very much an open playing field?
It's an open playing field because Google has a vast storehouse
Right.
of data. All people do all day long is ask Google questions. And so the ability for Google to play in there against Microsoft and for everybody to use models. Remember, I think NVIDIA is going to make the chips. Somebody's got to have the cloud. And I think that there's more competition now for the cloud that becomes a little bit more commoditized. And then somebody's got to make the applications and get the applications out. I think Microsoft is really poised with Copilot, probably better than Bard, but nobody owns it. And remember, there are going to be two different business models here. Bard may be more advertising supported, and Copilot is subscription supported. So there's an open marketplace here, an open marketplace in which the tech companies are going to have to spend billions and billions of dollars to get customers. That is why I call it the year of competition. I think NVIDIA's got out there with the chips, but then if you notice, Intel's not doing too badly. Some of those that you did counted out before are coming back. As I say, the competition for the cloud is really heating up. We at Stagwell made a partnership with Google on AI products and usage of AI cloud. And I think the applications here have yet to be written and yet to get into the marketplace. And that's going to happen in the next year or two here.
So we'll really see some of the use cases come. There's been a lot of rhetoric, obviously, this year. Some use cases, but it seems there's less paralysis and more clarity now in terms of how people are moving forward. Are you seeing that?
Well, I think people needed 6 to 9 months to figure out, how does this affect my industry, right? How does it move me closer to self-driving cars? How does it create a new shopping experience? How does it create a new way of journalism or creating videos? I mean, I think people first had to ask the question. Second, they had to look at how feasible it was to apply the technologies. We have a product called Profit that writes your news release for you, and then figure out who's going to cover it, and then places the news release. So I think people now are saying, okay, here are some of the applications. I think they're just beginning to get going. I think by mid-year, this is going to be a really hot marketplace.
Let me ask one other thing. Mark, you and I have spoken in the past about, I see you very much as a bridge between sort of the red state, blue state, how people navigate the political environment. Geopolitics has taken a much larger role in terms of impacting business. We've seen it with, the reactions to the Israel-Hamas war. And I'm hearing more conversations about a segregation of corporate America with regard to people both choosing to work in a place that has their political beliefs aligned, or just this sensitivity around how we bring politics into the workplace. I don't know if you've got advice about this or observations, but I think there's a real concern on the part of managers and leaders as to how do you navigate this world where people bring their whole selves to work and it's sensitive.
Yeah, well, we've created a risk and reputation unit, and I tell people you got to have, if you want to analyze these kinds of political in business issues, you got to have a Democrat, you got to have a Republican, you got to have somebody who knows investor communications, and you got to have a polling capability. You have to look at your various stakeholders. You have to look at your own brand, because some brands are positioned to fit into the political environment, and many brands are not. Remember, you don't, if you're a mass brand, you don't want to be involved in politics because you're getting 70-80% of the market, or drawing from 70-80% of the market. And the day you're involved in politics, you can only have access to half of it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a niche brand with 4 or 5%, you don't care. Maybe you'll do somewhat better if you just have some fans. So I think these are very difficult to navigate, but I wouldn't overdo this notion that people are so concerned about politics in terms of their job. A lot of this is driven by activists, and it's also driven, I think, and the poll shows, by a younger generation in the 18 to 24 that has been sensitized to this in a way that, they're just getting out in the world. And when they get a larger sense of the world and more experience, their views on things often change.
Once you get a paycheck, right?